Hello and welcome to another episode of the conversion of Granny Grumman. In this episode, you'll see me diagnose and repair a long-standing clutch issue that's been around ever since I installed the new clutch when I rebuilt the engine. This job took a little over a month due to me misdiagnosing the issue several times, as you'll see throughout the video. The first step is to remove the floor and all the cross members to be able to get to the transmission and remove it. Once the floor and cross members are out of the way, I can remove the U-joint from the transmission yoke, set the drive shaft to the side, and then remove the speedometer cable from the side of the transmission. The next step is to remove the main battery cable and wiring harness from the starter so that I can remove it from the bell housing. Once the starter's out of the way, I can remove these two bolts which go through the rear cross member and connect to the rear transmission mount. After that, I'll raise the engine and transmission from the bell housing so that I can slide the transmission out and remove it. Next, I'll get the linkage out of the way. And the last thing to remove are the 4 bolts that go through the transmission and thread into the bell housing. And here I'll wiggle the transmission back and forth just to break it free. The next step is to use a cherry picker so I can lift the transmission out and then set it aside. A little disclaimer for everyone, this is definitely not the right way to remove a transmission. You should have a transmission jack, but I thought I'd only be doing this once. I didn't want to buy the tool, but I really should have because I ended up doing this about 3 times. Now that the transmission's out of the way, I'll take the cherry picker and put it over the engine so that I can support it and remove the jack that's underneath the bell housing. And with the engine supported, I'll remove the bell housing. Now that the bell housing's out of the way, I can remove the friction plate and the pressure plate. When I originally replaced the clutch, I installed this brand new needle bearing, which are known to go bad, and the final clutch that I'll install came with a needle bushing. Those tend to last longer, and I don't want to have to do this again, so I made sure that the new needle bushing is going to fit onto the transmission, and then I drove it home. Right here you'll see the original clutch in the middle, which is an 11-inch diameter clutch, the one on the right, which is a 12-inch that I installed, which is wrong, and the one on the left, which is installed here, which is also wrong, but 11 inches. So I ended up searching around and I found on Rock Auto this M-Pact clutch that looked exactly the same. I ended up measuring everything, double-checking everything, and it seemed like it would fit and fix my issue where the clutch wouldn't fully disengage and allow me to shift. This is my 3rd time installing a clutch, so I decided to put the old one on, measure from the alignment tool, and then put on the new one and measure from the alignment tool, and they seem pretty close, but it still didn't fix the issue. So I added an extender to the adjuster, and it still didn't fix it. I finally figured out that all that area right there where I'm pushing on the pedal is slop in the linkage, which was completely worn out. Luckily, Novak makes a hydraulic clutch conversion kit which comes with everything you need except for the master cylinder and pedal. On their website, they list which GM bell housings are compatible, and luckily mine was. Installing Novak's kit was fairly straightforward. You just attach the bracket and the slave cylinder to the bell housing. I tried creating a bracket that would attach to the original pedal in Granny Grumman, but it didn't have enough mechanical advantage. So I bought this Willwood pedal as well as their master cylinder and attached it to the firewall. Diagnosing and repairing this clutch issue was a real test of my patience. There was such an overwhelming feeling of accomplishment when it finally disengaged. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for play-by-play updates, and I'll see you next time on the conversion of Granny Grumman.